as the sequel to one of the greatest Hollywood cult classics of all time. Hocus Pocus 2 packs a punch of nostalgia that we have all been waiting for. Set 29 years after the events of the original film, the sequel to Hocus Pocus marks the return of the infamous Sanderson Sisters as they try to take over Salem one more time. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever. In this video, we're taking a look at 10 things you didn't know about Hocus Pocus 2 before you go ahead and binge the film on Disney+. Number 10, reboot versus sequel. When director Kenny Ortega first started considering the possibility of bringing Hocus Pocus back, he almost went down a completely different route. With so many movies from the 70s and 80s being remade and set in modern times, at first Ortega wanted to do the same. He wanted to remake the entire thing and introduce a brand new audience to the spooky, magical world of Hocus Pocus. But let's just say that a remake isn't what the fans wanted. When rumors of the possible reboot started making rounds, the fandom took to social media and declared that no one could ever replace the iconic Sanderson Sisters and that the remake would ruin the sanctity and cult status of Hocus Pocus. And well, thankfully, the creators listened and decided to bring the original Sanderson Sisters back for a sequel that picks up decades after the first film. Bette, Kathy, and Sarah all decided to return back to the franchise, which just goes to show that a sequel was definitely the right decision. Considering the fact that this is a film set in modern times and the Sanderson Sisters are a trio of ancient witches, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they navigate this brand new era after being resurrected for the second time. Number 9, shooting in Salem. The great thing about the original Hocus Pocus film was the fact that parts of it were actually filmed in Salem, adding a layer of authenticity to the whole thing. So the fans were pretty disappointed to find out this wasn't going to be the case with the sequel. The truth is that with so many iconic films being set and shot in Salem, the location has just become too busy for any kind of filming at this point. So the cast and crew decided to go for the next best thing, Rhode Island. Now, don't be fooled, because when you watch the film, not even for a second will you feel like the story takes place anywhere but in the witchy village of Salem. While most of the modern-day scenes are filmed in Providence, the scenes from the 1600s were shot in the Lincoln Chase Farms to offer you all the spooky vibes that you expect from the sequel. And while it's unfortunate that the film couldn't be filmed in Salem as per the original plan, things still worked out pretty well, we'd say. Number 8, a new director. Kenny Ortega, who not only created Hocus Pocus but was also the force behind the iconic High School Musical franchise, has a vision like no other. It was because of his stellar direction that Hocus Pocus turned out to be the stellar masterpiece that it was. So naturally, he was expected to be part of any sequel that was to follow. However, Ortega actually decided to step down as the director, giving Ann Fletcher the honor of directing Hocus Pocus 2. Originally, Adam Shankman was supposed to take the project on, but because of some other commitments, he had to back out, bringing Fletcher into the picture. With films like The Proposal and 27 Dresses in her portfolio, Fletcher has a knack for comedic timing, which is one of the very things that make the first Hocus Pocus so successful. And while the fans were waiting to see what tricks Shankman had up his sleeve, the truth is that Ann Fletcher has brought a whole new vision to the sequel, giving it a completely fresh take with an element of nostalgia sprinkled everywhere. Number 7, new cast members versus the old. Now, you would expect some tension to brew when a bunch of seasoned actors whose names have become synonymous with the franchise come across all the new faces that are set to make their mark in Salem, putting an end to the Sanderson Sisters curse once and for all. However, according to the new cast members Peake, Escobedo, and Buckingham, working with the original trio from the first film was nothing but a dream come true. According to Sam Richardson, being able to work with veteran actors like Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, and Kathy Najimy was nothing short of surreal. And over the course of filming, the entire cast merged and bonded really well. How sweet is that? Number 6, the theme of Sisterhood. Sure, Hocus Pocus shows the Sanderson Sisters as a group of evil witches who hate children and want to rule the world with their power. But if you dive a little deeper, you'll see how through the Sanderson Sisters, Hocus Pocus talks about themes of love and sisterhood. According to Midler, the kind of relationship that she has developed with Sarah and Kathy is like no other. As far as the Sanderson Sisters are concerned, Midler actually thinks that the sisters are quite progressive as characters. They're funny, they don't care what people think of them, and most of all, they stand by each other through thick and thin. And while things do get messy among the trio, at the end of the day, they are always in each other's corner. Number 5, a spooky celebration. Speaking of Bette Midler, the actress actually experienced an extremely special moment on set when the entire cast celebrated her 76th birthday right in the middle of a shoot. In one of the promo posts for the film, it was shown that Midler and the rest of the cast had sung and danced on the movie set to celebrate the iconic actress and her work. The video showcased a very sweet moment from one of the night shoots for Hocus Pocus 2, where everyone drops their work as the clock strikes 12 to celebrate Midler and shower her with all their love and appreciation, breaking out into song to honor her legacy and her love for music. And well, soon enough, Midler joined along with the other Sanderson sisters, creating even more hype for their much-anticipated musical number in the sequel. Number 4, the special effects. When Hocus Pocus originally came out in 1993, the world of film editing and special effects was still pretty small. However, even with limited resources, the film managed to achieve cult status, which just goes to show that you don't really need fancy VFX and expensive makeup to make a good horror film. However, whenever you can, why not up the ante? And that's exactly what director Ann Fletcher set out to do with the sequel. If there's one thing that the fans didn't like back in the original movie, it was the sequences where the three witches were seen flying. With their choppy editing and below-par special effects, the flying scenes almost took away from the film. So Fletcher needs to fix that mistake this time around. And because the Sanderson sisters primarily use their trusty broomsticks to travel from one place to another, it makes sense for the flying to be a repeated occurrence in the movie. So good on Fletcher to spend her budget on things that actually matter and can improve the film-watching experience for the audience. So how exactly were these sequences shot? Well, for starters, an entire truck was covered with a blue screen, with the front of the truck being fitted with poles to act as broomsticks, along with 3 seats for the 3 witches. The actors then sat on these seats to film all their flying scenes, and the rest is movie magic. Number 3, Max isn't coming back. When the news of the Hocus Pocus sequel started flying around, the fans were pretty sure that Max, played by Omri Katz, was going to make a comeback along with the Sanderson sisters. So we were all ready to see a grown-up Max crossing paths with the 3 witches once again at a completely different time in his life. Sadly, though, all of that will remain a dream since Max is officially not going to be part of this sequel. When asked how he felt about his character not being included in Hocus Pocus 2, he claimed he's pretty sad and disappointed himself. According to the actor, he would have loved to be involved, but it just wasn't the case because the story is heading in a completely different direction. But hey, we still haven't given up hope. Hocus Pocus 3, anyone? Number 2, the queen of improvisation, Kathy Najimy. Speaking of the cast from the original film, the actors who have gone on to reprise their roles felt right at home once the filming started. Kathy Najimy in particular did not need any kind of preparation to dive headfirst into playing Mary, the funniest and most lovable one of the Sanderson sisters. And let's just say that even 30 years later, Najimy's comedic timing is like no other. The actress still has the talent to crack the perfect joke at the perfect time, and she made sure that everybody on set was always laughing and having a great time. And just like the original film, Hocus Pocus 2 also features a plethora of jokes that Najimy actually improvised all on her own, sometimes while in the middle of a take. According to the production assistant, Nathan Walker, Kathy was allowed to improvise a lot more than she did in the first film. And because the actress is so good at delivering one-liners, you can expect to roll on the floor with laughter once you start streaming Hocus Pocus 2. And number 1, another film in the making? Now that Hocus Pocus 2 is all ready to stream on Disney+, the next question on everyone's minds is this the last of the Sanderson sisters, or are they going to make yet another comeback? The idea of Hocus Pocus 3 sounds pretty great if we're being honest, but it all depends on what the cast thinks. Since the film is nothing without its 3 witchy leads, if they decide that they're done with the franchise, well, that's it. But the good news is that neither of them seems to be ready for goodbyes. According to Bette Midler, she would love to return for a 3rd film that would expand the franchise into a brand new direction. The actress said that she loves playing her character and that she could do it again and again. So if there's ever a chance for her to reprise her role once again, she would do it without any hesitation. Najimy, on the other hand, went on to say that the Sanderson sisters were done. "We pulled every story you could pull out of this," claimed the actress, but at the same time, she said that she was never going to say never, so if there are plans for a 3rd film, who knows? She might just hop along for the ride. At the same time, Ann Fletcher has also gone on to say that she wouldn't be opposed to the idea of returning back to Salem with the Sanderson sisters one more time. And with all of this, rumors of a 3rd film have already started to fly. So is Hocus Pocus 3 happening? We can't really say for sure for now, but hopefully we won't have to wait another 29 years for the franchise to come back with another installment. But with the post-credits scene hinting at the return of the Sanderson sisters with the candle being relit, something tells us that we're in for a few more scares from the world of Hocus Pocus. And that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, The Focus, for more movie-related news. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.